So this is him, God Killer Goku, eh? This tournament the Elder Gods set up to find the strongest multiverse of warriors truly is going to be a wild ride with all these different timelines and variants of us Saiyans. Gohan and I will surely have our work cut out for us looking into how they all came to be. This Son Goku seems dangerous, even more so than that weakling Ultra Vegito, or whatever he called himself. Interesting. So our story would begin with a sight of an Omni King Vegito, looking on at a strange digital apparition into the past of the famed God Killer Goku. Yes, this tournament set up by the Elder Gods is definitely going to be one of the greatest moments of my short life. I thought I had done it all, achieved it all, but winning this will be the ultimate pinnacle, the ultimate show of my strength. I stand as the strongest among all, and little do these Elder Gods know, I'll prove I stand even above them. As regardless of his views on the other participants like God Killer Goku, Omni Vegito would be all smiles. Behind him, an imagining of all 7 Elder Gods. And continuing his truly carefree and relaxed smile, he would reflect as he would walk forward. 2 hours. Less than that, actually. That's how long there's left until the tournament begins, according to that Elder God, Castiel. I was right to stop our training. It leaves just enough time to cover my story. How I became the Omni King and Omni Devil. As suddenly bursting his eyes open and revealing red and white pupils that could only belong to those who achieved becoming both the Omni King of the mortal realm and Devil of the demon realm. The story of Omni Devil Vegito, the same man who made Ultra Vegito seem like child's play, was about to be recounted by the legend himself. So I guess it all begins back on planet Vegeta, to be honest. The same way a lot of the Saiyan stories begin. But when Vegeta was born, it was no ordinary moment. My sire, your son, his power level is... It's over 9,000! As in this scene, we'd witness a baby Vegeta in an incubator where King Vegeta himself and his scientist would be staring in disbelief, with the King's own scouter beginning to malfunction from how high it would be going up. But things would not end there, as only 4 years later... Sire! It happened again! And it's with a low-class warrior! You cannot be serious! This one is over 9,000 again! As yet again, at the birth of Goku, or how he was called back then, Kakarot, King Vegeta and that same scientist would be left mouth ajar, totally unable to comprehend these 2 legendary Saiyans coming to be. But now with two prodigy-level Saiyans in his midst, the Saiyan King would quickly reflect, "First my son, now even Bardock's. This is a sign. It may be too late for me and my people. Frieza will surely make a move for our destruction. Him or that Beerus. But these two, with their power, they could be our future, our revenge. I will assure their safety." With that said, the king would quickly in person place the baby Goku and 4-year-old Vegeta within space pods, with the young prince questioning, "Father, what's happening?" While the king would only respond, "I'm sending you on holiday, my son. A planet called Earth. This boy here, his name is Kakarot. Treat him as your own blood brother. One day, we will reunite when you are stronger." But as King Vegeta would walk forward behind, a crying in vain Jiren would be screaming as Bardock would hold her back. "No! My baby! You can't do this!" "Keep it together, woman. That's the king you're talking to. Kakarot will be fine. He's being sent to one of the weakest planets in the solar system. He's even got the prince with him. He's even stronger than me." And so, the two brothers would grow up in each other's care, at least for their early years. Playing, training, eating, and more in the wild. The two would grow close, but at some point, boys being boys, they would separate onto their own paths. Vegeta learning in the ways of the Saiyans, while Kakarot would find humanity, living with a man named Son Gohan, training with Master Roshi, finding his friends and family, and undergoing the name change to Son Goku. It's been a while, Vegeta! Let me show you how strong you could have been! Oh really, Kakarot? I think you've really forgotten your Saiyan roots! But don't worry, I'll be sure to remind you, clown! As eventually, when they would reunite for a friendly spar, both would already be Super Saiyans, and with that change alone, would be on a level of power that simply triumphed over any timeline variant you could think of. But that didn't stop the rest of the story going on the way it should have been, as a lone Saiyan space pod would still fly through space straight for Earth. Crash landing, and of course, out of it would come out Kakarot's real brother, Raditz, who would say, "Kakarot should be around here somewhere. He was the jewel of our Saiyan race. With him, we can finally take down Frieza." Kakarot! But thinking he could bring back Son Goku at this point easily would just be an example of Raditz's poor thinking. Immediately, he'd get smashed into bits by his younger brother. Wait! Prince Vegeta! You're here too! As the shocks would continue to come for Raditz, when he would also learn that Saiyan royalty had been staying here on Earth as well, with his brother. It's good to see you again, Raditz. Now get out of my sight again! As Vegeta would then lift up two fingers and... transformed into a Super Saiyan for overkill, the prince would fire out a beam of energy forward. Prince Vegeta! Why? And just like that, in an eerily similar scene to what we'd expected in the normal timeline, Raditz would be killed, and with a straight shot through his chest, piercing him from one side to the other, as his gaunt, shocked face would spew blood out, not believing what had become of the two saviors of the Saiyan race. But luckily for Raditz, the next poor soul would be coming in a very familiar looking ship years later, as out of the crab-looking spaceship would come out the Emperor of the Universe, Frieza, and alone at that, in his specially made space chair. As looking around, unimpressed, he would let out, "This is the planet Cooler said wishing orbs would be on. Foolish brother! Surely such creatures here could never create such things. They look like monkeys." Oh well, it will be splendid nevertheless to watch these monkeys scream. Ginyu Force, you may begin the slaughter. Yeah! Ginyus, assemble! As just like that, Raccoon, Captain Ginyu, Jace, Berta, and Guldo would be seen yelling in tandem. Flying immediately out from the ship on Frieza's command, his elite force that would be ready to rip the Earth piece by piece in search of these mysterious wishing orbs. Lord Frieza! But unfortunately, the minute they would make any headway up into the sky out of the ship, suddenly all of the Ginyu Force would find themselves in great discomfort, their pupils immediately black as if they had just lost consciousness. And just like that, like dead flies, they would drop back down where they came from, straight into the opening of Frieza's ship. What? What just happened? Ginyu! Leaving the Emperor perplexed as he would turn around and see the men he just called out would be nowhere to be seen anymore. Huh? Who are you? I don't recognize you. Where is your armor, soldier? As unfortunately, greeting Frieza in their place would be a lone leg, dressed in an iconic orange clothing, while the Emperor would naively think he was another one of his men. Wait! That hair! Those eyes! Who are you? I am the hope of the universe. I am the answer to all living things that cry out for peace. I am the protector of the innocent. I am the light in the darkness. I am truth. Ally to good, nightmare to you. As with shock in his face, Frieza would look on at the reveal of Super Saiyan Goku, and with his first words being eerily similar to what he said on Namek in the main timeline. Frieza! And as Frieza would eventually transform into his final form, he'd be met with left hooks and uppercuts. even getting his arm clean sliced off by a Destructo Disc, but this time one thrown by Goku and not himself. This monkey is a Super Saiyan! And only in these final moments, as blood would splatter from his mouth from the numerous strikes, would Frieza realize the legends were true about the Saiyans. Eventually, just left fallen to his knees, blood still gushing out of his severed arm, and in front of his ship as if ready to escape. Wait! I can change! But it would seem this Goku would be giving no second chances, immediately firing off a powerful Kamehameha wave as Frieza would in his usual cowardly way just beg futilely one final time. But of course, he would be inevitably struck anyway, his whole body deforming on impact until ultimately a massive explosion would erupt, destroying him and the ship he came from. And the same would happen with Cell, meeting his end by Vegeta's hand, or should I say foot to begin with. Die, you insect! Blasting him to smithereens. Vegeta! How could you be this strong? Dr. Gero would never be this wrong! Fool! That old man can keep watch as much as he wants, but no data can keep up with the likes of a true Saiyan! And as this beatdown would go on at the Cell Games, all the rest of the Z-Fighters would watch on. Of course, one of them being Goku, who would watch on with a smile and his hands on his hips saying, "Show off! Leave some for me, Vegeta! No fair you won the rock, paper, scissors and got to fight first. I really wanted to try out my new form. At least leave a little bit of Cell left for Gohan to fight. I'll heal him up when you're done." Dad! As immediately the nervous teenager would look on at his father, as if he could expect him to do something crazy, like give Cell a senzu bean or something. Sorry, Kakarot and Kakarot's brat. I don't leave crumbs behind. This toaster dies here and now. As Vegeta would then smash another fist into Perfect Cell's face, and then slam a kick into him, sending the android to crash into the distance. Eventually though, he would stumble up, but Vegeta, mysteriously, would remain standing at a distance with his aura fluxing. Final! And unfortunately for Cell, spreading out his arms and summoning a vast array of energy, the Prince would power up his inevitable end in the form of his signature technique. Huh? What is Vegeta doing now? This technique, it isn't in my databanks either! Flash! But though Cell would ponder, it would mean little, as the minute Vegeta would fire, the perfect android would meet his demise. Vegeta! As just like that, Cell would be blasted off the surface of the Earth and into the abyss of space. Every single cell of his eradicated on the spot. Be gone, fatty! And even Buu would meet an easy finish, as this time both Vegeta and Goku in Super Saiyan 3 forms would make short work of the fat version of Buu, not given the opportunity to ever turn into Kid Buu, but even then, the result would end up the same. As with the two Saiyans this strong double teaming, Buu would absolutely be brutalized, beaten to a pulp and kicked into the distance, where for some reason, a primitive Goku would even bite onto the unconscious creature, with Vegeta looking down saying, "Kakarot, what the hell are you doing? Are you a dog or what?" As Goku replies, "Wait, he kind of looks like candy floss. I had to try. Animal." But with Majin Buu now thrown onto the ground, Vegeta would fly off into the distance. This should be fine, right, Vegeta? As Goku would instant transmission to the other side. Kame! Garlic!
Say wait!
But unfortunately for Majin Buu, this positioning of the two Saiyans would be no coincidence, as immediately both blonde warriors would pull back their arms, yelling out and... Firing simultaneously, Buu would be surrounded by two of the strongest energy beams known to mankind. And of course, with power of this level far beyond a spirit bomb, Buu would be annihilated, every particle eviscerated, as the explosion would be seen on Earth, even from space. Well, Whis, this is where those two Saiyans reside, isn't it? Why, yes, my lord. Son Goku and Prince Vegeta. If the Oracle Fish was telling the truth, these two will be just who you were looking for. As finally, the big dogs, or should I say cat, would appear in God of Destruction Beerus and his angel Whis, not too long after the events of Buu's destruction. Beerus! And on their arrival on planet Earth's surface, when Goku and Vegeta would spot them, the two would have two very different responses, with Goku confused with their appearances, while Vegeta would immediately be triggered from recognizing the cat, as the prince would snarl, You were the one who made a mockery of my father! I may have only been 4, but I saw it all! If you think the same will happen with me, then you're sadly mistaken, feline! Huh? Vegeta? You know this guy? While Goku would just look to Vegeta with surprise that he would even care who this cat creature was at all. Continuing, what's up with his clothes? He seems kinda strong. Is he? Strong? He's the strongest, Kakarot. A god of destruction, feared all over the universe. I don't think there's a being alive who could match him. Whoa! What? Get me in there! I need to fight this guy! as instantly, even in this timeline, Goku's buzz for fighting would not wane even a bit. Yes, I'm strong alright, but you can relax. I come in peace. I come on the premonition of the Oracle Fish. He says on this planet, a Saiyan will exist who will be my successor, the next God of Destruction. As Whis would interject, correct, but though Beerus-sama comes in peace, you will need to spar him. If either of you is able to impress him, you will personally be chosen and taught by me. And with my teachings, you can expect to become 10 times stronger than your current selves. What? 10 times? And for the two power-hungry Saiyans, who their whole lives have been itching to one-up each other in strength, Goku and Vegeta would understandably have extremely shocked reactions. Ones of excitement for sure. Looks like our competition is over, Vegeta! I'm gonna be the one who gets picked, and you know it! In your dreams, clown! An earthling like you is far too soft to be a destroyer. But a Saiyan like me, I'm made for it! Well, glad you boys are enthusiastic. But you still have me to go through. Prepare yourselves, mortals! As with a giant grin, the cat god would ready himself for an entirely different type of fight. As just like that, both Goku and Vegeta would transform into their Super Saiyan 3 forms once again. Slightly more powerful than before, and an awe-inspiring sight nonetheless in front of the destroyer. As getting himself away for a better view, the angel would teleport into the distance, watching from afar as the battle to decide the next God of Destruction would get on underway, with the angel simply commenting, I hope Beerus-sama can hold back. We wouldn't want to accidentally kill one of these poor boys. But Beerus would be no Majin Buu, and even in their Super Saiyan 3 forms, and both at the same time, the Destroyer would keep a smug smirk as he would dodge all of their attempts at attacking. Missing kicks too, as Beerus would duck and land strikes on the other. Come on! This surely cannot be what the Oracle Fish meant, could it, Whis? Having fun with it, as he would even laugh headbutting Goku right under his chin. With the Saiyan Prince soon finding a purple tail wrapped around his neck tightly, while Goku would have a hand gripped right onto his ankle. Kakarot! Vegeta! How strong is this guy? As only then it would hit Goku and Vegeta just how much of a gap in strength there was between them and Beerus, even with their significantly stronger power levels than any that came before. If only they had another form in this timeline, a power like the Super Saiyan God. But the what-ifs and buts would mean little when Son Goku and Vegeta would be span around so violently they would create a mini tornado. The two immediately shot like rockets far across the city, into a distant mountain face. He's so strong! I told you, clown! As both Goku and Vegeta would struggle to keep any control under the intense velocity and G-force on their bodies. Eventually though, they would make impact with the mountain for a colossal crash, instantly going right through to the point a man-made cave would emerge within the mountain, forever scarring the piece of nature. And on the floor, wholly defeated, a bleeding, beaten and bruised Goku would be mumbling, "Your friend over there is really amazing! I know you said he was strong, but this is crazy! Are we really going to lose? We never lose! I don't even know what that feels like. What do we do?" As Vegeta would respond, "The same here. The taste of defeat is something neither of us know, even against each other. It's always been a tie. My father sent us here because we were the chosen Saiyans with the greatest potentials. God or not, there is something more in us. Dig deep, Kakarot. We will find the power to win this." As just like that, on hearing this rousing speech, Goku and Vegeta would begin gritting their teeth, tensing their muscles, and sparking electricity all around them, as they would force their energy to spike further than ever before. But already outside the newly formed cave, Beerus would appear, and with a cold drink in hand somehow, sipping away, he would comment, "Well, that fish was out of its mind after all. We'll need to put him on the grill when we get back, Whis. These two Saiyans are nowhere near the level needed to succeed me." But unfortunately for Beerus, almost the second he would count our two heroes out, with a straw still in his mouth, he would sense a disturbance near him. As suddenly, the entire giant mountain in front would explode right in his face, and out of it, two figures would emerge, hidden with black silhouettes, but strangely now, both sporting tails. As unbelievably, out of the clutches of defeat, this timeline's Goku and Vegeta would disbelieve any kind of defeat so badly that they would both, simultaneously, like true brothers, ascend at the same time to a mysterious red-haired Super Saiyan 4 form, straight out of Daima. What? And immediately, their newfound power would be there for all to see, with Goku landing a flying kick straight on Beerus' chest, while Vegeta would smash an elbow under the cat's chin, sending Beerus to the ground in the daze, bleeding from the mouth, as he would wonder, "Impossible! These two were hiding such a power! Were they playing with me as I played with them? The fish was right! Wait! It's a spar, you fools!" But as Beerus would call out to remind the Saiyans that this was not a life or death battle, both would power up what would seem like a fatal final blast, seemingly about to go down the mistake-ridden path of Ultra Vegito, until... Wait! It would seem in an eerily similar way to some other timelines, Whis would interject, stopping the Saiyans immediately from proceeding any further. But with a big smile, the angel would then reveal, "No more sparring is needed. I am happy to confirm the next successor to the throne of God of Destruction will be the both of you." Huh? What? As instantly, both Goku and Vegeta, with bemused faces, would be left positively speechless. But some time would eventually pass, as we would now find ourselves looking at Beerus' home planet. And in a truly unique sight, in front of Goku and Vegeta, Whis and Beerus would stand, with Beerus of all people holding onto a freshly made new set of destroyer clothing, ready to give to this supposed successor. Something's not right here. But it would be Goku with his arms folded who would notice first. I thought you said we're both going to be destroyers, but I only see one pair of clothing, and that looks like it fit me, not Vegeta. You have a remarkable eye for detail, Goku-san. But yes, I did say that. But unfortunately, there can only be one God of Destruction. But I do have a solution. As Whis would then rummage behind him and... Here! These are called the Angel-grade Patara earrings! And just like that, Whis would bring out the all-powerful variant of earrings, which even the normal version of this timeline's Goku and Vegeta would have no idea about. As then throwing it to Goku and Vegeta, both would catch and Whis would continue. Put these on opposite ears. Once you do, you will both fuse and become one. Everything you learn as you become a destroyer will be imparted to both of you. When you wish to defuse, you simply take it off. But something tells me, when you two get a taste of your new power, you may not be in a rush to... As Goku would then start placing one on and look to Vegeta nervously saying, Fusion by earrings? Wow, that's weird. I've never heard of two bodies becoming one. What do you think, Vegeta? While Vegeta, also placing an earring on, would smirk, replying, If doing this means I can get 10 times stronger, then so be it. I only care about being the strongest. We both do. It's not permanent, so why not? As just like that, the two Saiyans would then fuse for the very first time in this timeline. What? How did you get the clothes already? As when finally, God of Destruction Vegito would reveal himself, his insane speed, even in base, would leave Beerus shocked, as he would already find time to completely change into his new dreads, looking behind and simply commenting, Sorry, but I couldn't wait. These feel great. Glad to take over now, old timer. And that's how I became me. As the scene would quickly shift back to the red and white-eyed Omni Vegito, as he would have the final say, letting out, But this is just the beginning. Now to tell the tale of how I went on to rule over all gods and all demons. The first Saiyan in history to become both the Omni King and Devil at the same time. Stay tuned, because this is going to be one hell of a ride. Really? Now I didn't expect to hear that, Whis. You gods really are a big deal, I guess. Yes, you could say that, Vegito-sama. And now, you are one of us. So our story continues with Omni Vegito. Of course, not yet the Omni King, but recounting his story as he had just taken the position of God of Destruction from Beerus, as Whis, his new angel attendant, would be stood in front of him explaining the lore of the lands and gods, as Beerus would watch on behind, disinterested. But folding his arms, taking in every bit of information he can and analyzing it, the smart Vegito would let out, "So, there are a whole bunch more of you destroyers then. 12 of you to be exact. And 12 entire other universes filled with fighters like me. How crazy. Seems everything that was happening back on Earth really was just a blip in the grand scheme of things." But soon letting off a sly giggle and smirk, Vegito would question, "But the real question is, how strong are these other destroyers? Stronger than you, Beerus?" "Of course you'd ask that, Saiyan." As still sitting down, Beerus would just respond, "Some are weaker than me, but some are definitely stronger. Don't get any ideas. When I say stronger than me, I mean much stronger than you too. Besides, gods of destruction are not permitted to fight with each other outside of competition. It would be heavily frowned upon, wouldn't it, Whis? The last time we got to do anything like that, it was organized by the Grand Priest himself." Grand Priest? Now who would that be? He sounds like he's above even you. As hearing this name for the first time, the fused Saiyan would become all ears. As proudly, Whis would then explain about his own kin. "The Grand Priest. Yes, that is definitely someone you must be acquainted to. My father, the father of all angels. One of the strongest in the universe, second only to Lord Zeno, the Omni King, the one who created all." "Oh, Omni King as well as a Grand Priest? This hierarchy just keeps on going, doesn't it? Wouldn't surprise me if there was a level even above this." As Vegito, well and truly intrigued, would have no fear, but just a sense of excitement for such powerful adversaries, continuing, "So, when can I meet these two? I need to see this for myself." But Whis would just remain silent, just walking forwards towards the Saiyan, a newly appointed God of Destruction. Before, with his eyes closed and a cunning smile, he would let out, "That time will come, Vegito-sama, but only when they have summoned you for an introduction. But in this world, first impressions are everything, and until then, we will need to train you so that this first impression isn't a bad one. Training! Now you're talking. Well, bring it on then, Whis. Show me these angel techniques that will soon be mine. Show me how I get 10 times stronger! As with his fist clenched, God of Destruction Vegito, like many of his variants, would be up for anything and everything. And soon enough, the training would begin, with Vegito erupting instantly into his Super Saiyan 2 form, a golden aura around him as he would briefly stretch and say, "Alright, I think we already know what would happen with Beerus, so let's see what you can do, Angel. Do not hold back. I can feel some serious increase in my power with this fusion. It's like it didn't just add our powers together, but multiplied them." Exactly that. The Patara fusion is stronger than any other kind. It's a pity it can only be used by 2 warriors. Abused with many, it would truly create a monster. But anyway, yes, I will surely not hold back too much. As Whis unknowingly would give us a hint into why the God Killer Goku was so strong with his methods of attaining power. Perhaps your reactions are lacking. As instantly, without a word more, the angel attendant would teleport right in front of a surprised Vegito. But as he would launch a swiping kick backwards, Vegito, almost like he had turned into paint, would fade as nothing would strike. What? He hasn't even powered up yet! As soon revealed to be an afterimage, Vegito would be gone, vanishing away, actually avoiding a strike from the angel, much to the surprise of Whis. In the sky now. His speed is impressive. As watching Vegito reappear in the distance as a blur, he would look up and comment, "And what will you do from there? I thought it was a fight you wanted, Vegito-sama." You're right. I better get down to you fast. As like a rocket, firing down at full intensity straight to Whis, sound barriers would be broken multiple times visibly until... With a thunderous punch onto the ground, Vegito would miss, but a smile would remain on his face as an impressive amount of destruction would still go on display. Whis soon then revealing himself to have appeared behind, unimpressed with what Vegito had done to his planet. You're faster than Beerus. Almost like you knew what I was going to do before I even did it. Is this what you mean by angel techniques? As looking back devilishly, Vegito would try to garner more information from his new master. I haven't even begun, my lord. Well, hurry up then! As both would then rush straight back in, eager to take things up yet another level. As just like that, spiraling their auras all over Beerus' planet, battling and colliding all over in a flurry of white and yellow auras. So, this is it! Finally! Huh? What? Before me? As after some months, Vegito would unlock what Whis had promised, far faster than Beerus, even after centuries of trying to master it. As standing now draped in a strange aura, and his hair an angel white, God of Destruction Vegito would master Ultra Instinct, all while a visibly damaged Whis, who he had now been getting the better of even before mastering Ultra Instinct, would watch on in pure disbelief. Alright, I've watched enough. There is no way this is the real Ultra Instinct. I've seen yellow, red, blue. This must be another silly Saiyan transformation. Now, you will face both of us as your real test, mortal. As on seeing Vegito ascend, the former destroyer could no longer accept reality, jumping to his feet and cracking his limbs as... Are you ready, Whis? Most definitely, Beerus-sama, but I must admit, I am afraid of what we may find out. As now in a three-way deadlock, the two gods and one angel would be ready for Vegito's final test. And just like that, Beerus and Whis would pounce on a still-standing Vegito, their years together ensuring their synchronicity in their attacks, as the Saiyan's eyes would just dart around swiftly. Whis! But unbelievably, even the power and speed of a destroyer and angel combined would require little more than a slight Matrix-style dodge backwards and a little parry with the lightest of touches, his face emotionless and not saying a word. But despite being attacked, he'd still find time to swiftly remove his destroyer garb at the same time. This is impossible, Beerus-sama! As still, not batting an eye or showing an inch of effort, Vegito would be seen blocking and stopping attacks from both divine entities at the same time, both trying their hardest to add insult to injury. But talking of injury, it would only be moments later they would be countered unceremoniously, with a chop to the cat god's neck and a smack right on Whis' nose, bloodying it immediately. Left in a frozen pose as both opponents would slam to the ground simultaneously away. But curiously, defeated, the teacher Whis would only look on with a proud smile, letting out finally, "Well, I think the training is over, Vegito-sama. An introduction with father is most overdue. No, he needs to meet you." And so, with that said, an untold amount of time later, Beerus, Whis and the God of Destruction Vegito would indeed find themselves in the kingdom of Zeno, walking through the royal chambers, white pillars on either side. "This is where that Omni King and Grand Priest live? You all really have your own planets all to yourselves? What a waste! I'm learning more and more. You gods seem to think a lot of yourselves. Maybe too much." You could say that, but it is more than necessary for Zeno-sama of all the gods. He is, after all, the creator of all life here, and the one who keeps all others in order, yourself and myself included. And then suddenly, outstretching his hand forward, after a few more minutes walking, Whis would call out, "And now, here we are, the first of many to come for you, Vegito-sama. Your first divine meeting of the gods!" As finally revealed to Vegito would be all 11 other gods of destruction and their accompanying angels, all bowing down in allegiance and submission to the Grand Priest and Omni King, who stand at the very opposite end. Fashionably late, but regardless, Vegito would have his mind blown, while it would just be another day in the office for Beerus and Whis. Ooh, this guy is new. Who is he? He's with Beerus-chan. Almost immediately, the excitable Zeno would be the first to notice the newest Saiyan addition to the ranks of destroyers. And looking closer, he would disregard all the rest of the gods and ask, "Hey there, what's your name? You look really funny." While the Grand Priest, seemingly with eyes everywhere, would already know, "This must be Vegito-san, our newest and youngest god, Zeno-sama. I've heard much about you from my son, but it's good to finally put a face to the name." "Yo! So you're the Grand Priest and Zeno? You guys are a whole lot shorter than I thought you'd be. And not even Frieza short. I mean Krillin level short." "Oh God! Watch your tongue, Saiyan!" As immediately falling to their knees, bowing down like the rest of the gods, Beerus and Whis would be completely embarrassed with how casually Vegito would address the two most powerful in the multiverse. "Hi! What are you doing? Get down here and bow! Didn't Whis teach you this?" But there would be more grievances to come, when Beerus would look up and angrily notice Vegito was still standing up and the only god to do so. But the shots would only go on further when Vegito would do the unthinkable and confidently strut forward through the two rows of bowing gods and right for the Grand Priest and Zeno, leaving Beerus and Whis in his dust. "Vegito-sama! Saiyan!" And in hushed voices, not wanting to make a scene, Whis and Beerus would look up with a true concern, doing their best to call the Saiyan destroyer back, but with no success. "Universe 7! Do all their destroyers have to be a punk? What does this kid think he's doing?" And it wouldn't be long before even other gods would take notice, with Belmod immediately ticked off just seeing Vegito brazenly disobey the norms. But eventually, the fused warrior would come right up to the Grand Priest and with no fear, letting out, "So, I'll cut to the chase. I don't know what this so-called divine meeting is for, nor do I care. But just as you've heard a lot about me, I've heard enough about you from Whis. And apparently, you know something everyone else here doesn't. Tell me, what will it take for you to teach me the Seraphim?" As unbelievably, truly doing whatever he wants and whenever, on his very first meeting with the all-powerful Grand Priest, Vegito, with an excitable grin, would request private teaching of the most legendary of angel techniques, leaving Dai quite noticeably bemused, just thinking in his mind, who is this man? You have some nerve, brat. That's not how things work here. Yes, such techniques are not for the likes of you. Stand back from father, destroyer of Universe 7. And the reactions from the other gods would not be a good one, as Belmod and the Angel Sour would immediately teleport behind the Saiyan, ready to pull him away from the Grand Priest and his truly ridiculous request. What? But unfortunately for Belmod and Sour, it would seem before they could get to Vegito in front, they would sense that they were ironically not alone from behind themselves, swiftly turning around to find... What are you doing? As in a shock scene, the minute their eyes would peer back, two clones of Vegito would already be there, both in their mastered Ultra Instinct states, pointing fingers right to the temple of both Destroyer and Angel alike, just mumbling in their ear, I wouldn't get any closer if I were you. Pleased to make your acquaintance, but don't make me have to pull the trigger. Pull the trigger! This energy, this form, it cannot be! This mortal has mastered what we gods could not! As opening his eyes further, soon the shock of Vegito's actual abilities would leave Belmod trembling. Well, what do we have here? A god has mastered Ultra Instinct in such a short time as well. This is unprecedented. I'm impressed, Vegito-san. Wow! That was so cool! There's 3 of him now too! I like this guy, Dai! As Dai's and Zeno's reaction would be a typical explosion of pure excitement. And the Grand Priest continuing would then add, I must say, I like him too, Zeno-sama. I think I will accept your request. Your credentials and show of strength here has given you that right. Not one angel nor god has ever come close to understanding how the Seraphim works. I am the only user in this universe, but I don't mind giving you the opportunity, young Destroyer. But with his face slowly becoming more serious by the second, he would continue, but I must warn you, a technique like this took even myself 100 years to master. And the kind of training needed to unlock this is the kind most here would not survive a week of. Your rule as a destroyer may be short-lived if you die early on. Do you still wish to proceed? Was there any point in even asking me that question? I don't lose at anything, ever. Bring this training on. I will be the first here to show you. I too can achieve this power. As with a sinister grin, God of Destruction Vegito would throw himself into the unknown depths of the Grand Priest's signature training. I have got to keep going. And so, over many months, Vegito would push himself through the unusual training methods of the Seraphim, seemingly in a new dimension of lava and burning hot temperatures. Seen jumping through the skies as many meteors covered in scorching flames would fire at him for hours on end. Eventually enveloping him at times, leading to the most agonizing of screams as his literal body would cook and char, all while a mysterious voice, seemingly from the Grand Priest himself, would call out, "See clearer, see everything, young destroyer." What's conjuring all this? But as the training would go on, the number of obstacles would not lack at all, faced with flames that would take the shape of arms and limbs too. Not this time! Trying his best to jump away to freedom. But only for an unseen arm from the unlimited flames to grab onto his leg in his blind spot. Dai's voice continuing to let out, "Open your eyes! You must see all!" Let go! Dangled by his foot right into the sky, helplessly flailing now with too little energy after all this time. But even when his wish would be granted, thrown onto the ground with violent force. When does this end? A shadow would cover Vegito as... Get away! As yet another giant hand of pure fire would form from nothingness and be ready to slam down, crush, and burn the Saiyan alive. Get away! Get away! But in the nick of time, the destroyer would roll out of the way to escape and break into a full sprint for his life forward. Damn it! But unfortunately for Vegito, in this condition and in this environment, even he would make mistakes, tripping over a rock, sending his exhausted body to the ground. No! And whether he fell or not, the wave of fire coming down would not care at all, now right at his backside. This is going to hurt! As unable to do any more, the Saiyan would just lay flat on the floor, looking back with a terrified look, as right on top of him now would be a tsunami of these divine flames. And in his final moments of this training session, that fear would only amplify as his whole face would be lost in the light. But months later, Vegito would still be alive, but in yet another harsh environment, this one suffering through the harshest of snowstorms. But even with the snow berating his face, he'd need to find time and reactions as suddenly razor-sharp ice spears would come flying past him, as Dai's voice would call out, "Well done, your eyes have improved, but can they see this?" What? As unbeknownst to our hero, that flash of icicles was far from a one-time thing, as above him now, an entire army of them would rain down towards him, causing Vegito to instantly then take to the sky. There's more of these ice shards in this area, but at least They're far more predictable than that fire was. I should be fine here. What's happening now? But just as Vegito would gain some sense of comfortability compared to before, he would sense the flow of ice bears suddenly come to a stop in the air, ironically, like they had been frozen still. They're growing! As Vegito would immediately realize, though they had stood still, their exposure to the cold air with no more movement would cause them to rapidly increase in size. They fall so much faster and harder now! And when they would begin moving again, the crashing behind him would instantly come to the destroyer's attention until... no longer able to move through them, and with the increased speed, Vegito would be utterly obliterated, as the pieces of ice would rip through his body like he were a mere piece of paper, as the Grand Priest's voice would ring out again. You are all the same. Your eyes could never reach the level of a Seraphim. But sometime later, despite the pain and suffering, a lone figure would be seen emerging still on his feet. What kind of training is this? No fighting, no teaching, just surviving hell. This has to be some kind of joke. Maybe that midget just didn't like me. As a totally damaged and injured Vegito would be seen walking through the gusts of snow, his body bleeding all over, grabbing onto what looks like a broken left arm. I need a break! But at the first sign of some shelter, Vegito would swoop behind a large icy surface. It won't stop, but I can't lose. I won't! But regardless of the shelter or not, the rain of ice spears would continue to find him, just crashing onto the increasingly thinning sheet of ice between them. No, already! And soon the cracks would begin to show in both the wall and Vegito's morale, as closing his eyes tightly, he would begin thinking, maybe it was too soon. Maybe the priest was right. This is one battle, one challenge I won't overcome. As eventually, the wall would explode, leaving Vegito exposed, but... Enough! As bursting his eyes open, the unbeatable, indomitable Vegito, God of Destruction of Universe 7, would reveal not just any Seraphim, but immediately the Green Seraphim. And with that, a divine light like no other would unleash from his body in all directions, like he had a guardian angel, or should we say, guardian Seraphim. And under that light, the shards of ice would begin to melt and evaporate away until... ultimately, a gigantic explosion would erupt, like a self-destruction had taken place. And watching it all from above, the voice that had been calling out and taunting, the Grand Priest would be visible. Watching and commenting, not believing. What am I seeing here? Those eyes, were they really the Seraphim? Green? It could not be possible. It has been less than 1 year. If that really is the case. But a foot would begin to emerge just before Dai could finish his thoughts. I did! I win, Dai! I told you! As steaming out of the smoke, a fully re-energized green Seraphim activated Vegito would be reborn. A grin on his face, instantly detecting and seeing with his new vision, Dai in the air. And staring right at him, he would proclaim, "I am different to the rest. Never underestimate me again, or you will regret it. Now what's next? Or have I already surpassed even you?" As a visibly unnerved Grand Priest would only think to himself, "Again, the same question haunts my mind. Just who is this man?" Whoa, green! How did you know that's my favorite color? Huh? But interrupting their little exchange, suddenly Zeno himself would appear, flying around the Saiyan at speed and with excitement, as looking into Vegito's emerald eyes, the spontaneous child would yell, "I've decided, you're super strong. I want you around to be my forever friend. I promote you to be the Grand Priest." What? Lord Zeno! As both Vegito and Dai would then be left completely perplexed. The current Grand Priest, of course, the most shocked. But calming down and hiding his red face of stress, Dai would continue, "That's a very interesting proposition, Lord Zeno, but not quite how the process goes. You know that already. I'm sure a god like Vegito wouldn't want something like this given so easily. He likes to win things." "You know me so well already. Yes, I want to be the Grand Priest only if I deserve it. Tell me how I can get to that point. Or am I already there? AKA, strong enough to beat you already, Grand Priest?" "Yeah, is he? I think the green is stronger than blue. I've never even seen it before. Maybe you two should fight to the death. Winner becomes my new priest." You would love that, wouldn't you, Zeno-sama? As now nervously sweating at such sudden suggestions and threats to his position, Dai would regain some composure and reply, "I can assure you, fighting me as you are will not be able to beat me. I'd rather not waste anybody's time with such an affair. Congratulations on unlocking the Seraphim, but mastering its usage is a whole other challenge in itself. Besides, Lord Zeno, deciding who maintains order on your behalf as your advisor and father of the angels is no small task. Pick the wrong candidate, and you know all too well what could happen. You remember my older brother Lucif, do you not? Unless you want to repeat the same mistake, we must make sure we have the right man before ever suggesting my replacement." Lucif, I do remember. As immediately on hearing this name, Zeno would uncharacteristically stop his smiles, looking down at the ground muttering, "He was a really bad guy. He was going to be the Grand Priest first, but he wanted bad things to happen. I made a mistake with him. I had to send him to the demon realm." Lucif? Demon realm? What is all this? There's yet another realm I don't know of. How strong was this guy? As Vegito, hearing this, would immediately have questions to ask. Of course, He doesn't know. This man, he does remind me of him. He's a threat to my position, and I do not like how Zeno resonates with him. This may be my chance. Lucif, dear brother, you may actually prove yourself useful for once. As deep in thought, the Grand Priest would suddenly begin conjuring up a plan. Ah, that's right, Vegito. You didn't know. As laughing under his breath initially, he would then smile gleefully and let out, "The Demon Realm is a land filled with monsters that rival and even surpass the angels. Warriors so powerful and evil, they had to be locked away from our realm. There, my brother Lucif remains, someone just as strong as me. Go down there, train, become stronger, and master your Seraphim. When you're finished, just call out my name, and I will bring you back."
Guys, that strong exists? Perfect! This is unreal! I'm ready to go now, priest!
As being played like a damn fiddle, Vegito's Saiyan blood would boil immediately for the new challenge and danger, while a saddened Zeno would just say, "Aww, I'm not gonna be able to watch you down there. Make sure you don't take too long and call out for Dai as soon as you're done. We need to play."
I'll be back fast. I promise, kid.
As Vegito would then confidently just give a thumbs up and like that begin falling down a black portal to the unknown as Zeno would wave goodbye, eventually leaving for what could potentially be years. Yes, call out my name. Let's just hope I hear it. As Dai, thinking to himself dastardly thoughts, would just laugh away, arriving behind Zeno before placing his hand behind his back and leading him away, saying, "Come, my lord, let's go find some new toys for you to play with." But before they would even make their third step forward, a sharp energy arrival would be sensed by Dai. As slowly turning his head around, sweating yet again, he would be muttering, "Who could this be? It couldn't! There is no way it could! It has to be!"
I'm back, guys!
As unbelievably, in what must have been a single minute, Vegito would emerge out of a black portal, now in completely different clothes. Red and black Seraphim activated, and inconceivably, a crying baby in his arms. As staring forward, this clearly upgraded Vegito would let out,
"You did remember that time moves differently in the demon realm, didn't you? Turns out it's vastly different. I got to meet a lot of strong warriors just as you said. Killed them all too. But meeting your brother Lucif was definitely a cherry on top. He told me some very interesting information about how I can gain even more power. But before that, I need to introduce you to my new son. Who would have thought a cute chick would be down there? Rani, I think her name was. Your mother. So say hello to your new brother. His name is Zikor." Now about what your dear brother Lucif was telling me. Seems, being the Grand Priest, should not have been my goal after all.
So our story continues with the unbelievable return of God of Destruction Vegito, the Omni Vegito from Castiel's Multiverse, sent to the demon realm by the priest in a plan to keep him there forever on a mission to train and defeat the various monsters down there. But in a shock twist, returning only a single minute later, claiming to be finished, and with a baby Zikor inexplicably in his arms. Huh? Vegito-chan is back! Huh? This has to be an illusion! How could time be so different in the demon realm that he'd be back already? As both Zeno the Omni King and Dai the Grand Priest would turn around with caution, not quite believing their eyes, but for two totally different reasons. Whoa! How do you look even cooler now? Your clothes have changed, and your eyes are red. Whoa, you look scary. Are you sure you're Vegito-chan? With the childlike Zeno just fixated on Vegito's appearance while... You cannot be here no matter what you say! How could you possibly find a way back here without my intervention? No demon can come to the mortal realm so easily! As Dai would know full well, the only way a creature could return from the demon realm should be through at least a merger of realms occurring.
Hold on, boys. Dai's brother is crying again. Let me fix this. Pretty sure I learned enough from Gohan, Goten, and Trunks.
As the new father would angrily look at his pouting baby son and immediately generate of all things a dummy made of purple energy. And just like that, stopping the tears and yells instantly, Vegito would fatherly place the dummy in the child's mouth. A cute moment until... With violence and seemingly no care in the world, the fused Saiyan would toss the baby straight up high into the sky, even surprising the Grand Priest with his callousness. But it would seem, of course, our hero was no evil being, as we would then see the baby Zikor safely protected up above, in a sphere of protective energy made from the same that his dummy was made from, above only to save him from the noise and destruction of what was about to take place. That child! You say it is my brother! Rani's child! You dare claim to have mated with my mother? How do you come up with such lies? As Dai, looking up with a mixture of shame and disbelief, would stare carefully, trying to decipher if there was any truth to Vegito's words.
Stay on topic, priest. One question at a time. Not my fault your mother is so easy. You know as well as I do, that kid is your kin. Just have a sense of the divine energy he's got. But as for how I got here, I was confused on that at first. But turns out there was a Saiyan down there training as well, and he knew his own way to get out whenever he pleased. I think his name was Giblet, or something weird like that.
As unbelievably, much like in one of the timelines we already saw, where a Shallot existed who escaped from the demon realm, his twin brother would exist in this one. But regardless, Vegito would then nonchalantly start walking forward to Dai and Zeno, letting out with his hands on his hips.
But anyway, enough exposition. I'm back. I've trained. I've mastered the Seraphim and defeated everything moving down there. I've done all you asked, including getting rid of that ugly brother of yours you said was as strong as you.
What? You defeated Lucifer? That cannot be! I refuse to believe that! As this would be the most shocking reveal of all for the priest, knowing full well his older brother's power was not just the same as his, but actually far stronger.
I'm afraid it's true.
As confidently folding his arms with a smirk and a stare right into Dai's eyes, Vegito would continue.
That red freak had been training for a long time. He was definitely a tough fight. But with two Saiyan geniuses that can't lose within me, it was only a matter of time till I put him to sleep. And now I've conquered him by default. That just means I can beat you too, doesn't it, priest? So I'm wondering, do I get your position now?
No, you do not. You will never. Because what you say and what is actually reality is not the same. I don't believe a word you say. As now angered, panicked as well, Dai would lose his cool and lift his fist, choosing to be deluded.
Good! I was hoping you'd say that, because Lucif told me it's the Omni King I should aim for!
As instantly turning his gaze and blasting forward, Vegito would change objectives and come at Zeno for a surprise attack. He dares attack the Omni King! Huh? Vegito-chan, are we playing? As momentarily, Dai would not even be able to believe someone would so brazenly attack the god of all, while Zeno naively would have no clue what danger was even approaching him.
Sorry, kid, but I need the Omni King's power!
As ultimately, Zeno would just stand like a useless log, staring in innocence, as Vegito's fist would be ready to smash right through his skull. But at that very moment, the Grand Priest would remember who he was, vanishing instantly, his eyes locked on the situation. You have gone one step too far. Ooh, Dai! As immediately transforming all the way to his final form, the Grand Priest would show his mettle, stopping Vegito's violent fist at the last second, as Dai would watch on oblivious to how serious the situation even was.
So you finally show the real you. Lucif told me that short stack version of you was just a facade. So this is what a true elite angel looks like.
As grinning regardless of his punch being stopped, like it were no problem, Vegito would seem pleased to finally see the Grand Priest's full power. But smiling or not, Dai's grip on his fist would be tightening by the second, the Saiyan's arm beginning to tremble, as this Multiverse's Dai would actually seem to be stronger than any version of Dai we had seen before. Staring forward with his Saiyan completed Seraphim and letting out, Lucif told you, did he? Was this before or after you pretended to defeat him? You say you have mastered the Seraphim, yet only I have these eyes, and these eyes see through all of your lies, Vegito-san. But the trembling of Vegito's arm, on hearing that, would begin moving so fast, it would begin blurring. Is he? As Vegito would then immediately make Dai's cold words seem like nothing, vanishing and reappearing behind the angel's back to strike him from behind. His speed, a little faster than I thought, but no problem. As stumbling forward, Dai would be unwilling to accept that what just happened was anything to worry about.
Hi! What was that about fast? What?
As Vegito grinning away and truly just looking like a spread of colors in his blur, with how fast he would be moving, would already sideswipe himself right in front of Dai. But the priest with his so-called completed Seraphim would quickly try to attack with a straight right, but the fusion would dodge that like it were child's play.
Right, my go now!
As instantly countering with a left hook back, Dai would have his face rocked instantly. His whole head snapped over 90 degrees to the side, on the verge of snapping from impact alone. Sending the angel backwards with speed, his body and position looking far from regal, as he would continue to flail uncontrollably. But even with him already on his way back, Vegito's foot would begin moving in super speed yet again. How is he doing this?
Doing what, Dai?
Until reaching straight behind the priest yet again, but this time with both his fists pulled back on either side until...
Doing this?
As then crunching his fists together on both sides of Dai's temple, like the most brutal of vice grips, the priest would be left screaming, lucky to not be left with brain damage. And Dai would immediately fall to the floor as a result. The severe damage would be apparent by him instantly coughing out blood in shock. All while this Vegito from another multiverse would giggle behind without a care in the world. You! And in disrespect, the regal divine grand priest would not even be allowed to rest for a moment, being grabbed by the skull and his hair and pulled up, before Vegito would raise his whole body and... unleashing a swarm of beatings on his back with multiple strikes, as the little Zeno would watch alone. Dai? Vegito-chan is stronger than you now. Huh. As it would seem, even the naive childlike god would begin to realize maybe this Vegito was not the same man he had said goodbye to. This power! You had none of this before. I
cannot think what you could have done down there to gain so much power this quickly. Did you absorb Lucifer?
But as Dai would be held up, groaning in agonizing pain, he would wonder too how such a change would occur in Vegito.
Absorbing? What kind of lazy fighter do you take me for? This is my own strength. I told you, time moves differently down there. I'm a god now, remember? I don't age anymore, so I can't really keep track of time. But I was probably training for decades. Decades!
As with that bombshell let out, Vegito would then toss the beaten priest down onto the ground like a piece of trash.
Decades in a minute. But that means, dear Lucifer, how long have you suffered down there?
And in a somber, unexpected note, it would seem in this multiverse, in his seemingly final moment, Dai would think of his older brother.
Don't worry, I won't hurt you anymore.
As a Saiyan foot would then land on Dai's chest, but very gently.
What is it you want? Not you. I want the kid's job.
As in a triumphant final pose, standing 2 feet deep right on top of Dai, with his arms folded and not a single scratch on him, this Vegito had proven himself without a doubt the strongest god, with only Zeno left in his way.
Well, Zeno, what do you say? I know you like me and all, but this is just business. I need to wield the power of an Omni King, and you're the only one who can give it to me. Are you ready to fight, or do you need more time?
But a still scarily unfazed Zeno, despite hearing this in the distance, would just respond, I guess I'm ready. I thought we were going to play, but I guess this is the same. I'm just confused though. Why do you want to be the Omni King? You know it's a really boring job, right?
Boring or not, according to Lucifer, once I beat him, I became the devil, the supreme being of the demon realm, and my power skyrocketed from that alone. You, on the other hand, are the supreme being of the mortal realm, a realm far larger that has given you universe-destroying abilities. If I take your role, not only will I gain the strength of that level, but according to Lucifer, I'll even be on a level beyond that. An Omni Devil. The kind of power I could have only dreamt of. Tell me honestly, is what he said true? I'm going to find out for myself anyway.
To which Zeno would reply with little thought, it is true, I think, but that doesn't really explain much. Is power really that fun? I have lots, but there's nothing I can do with it.
Lots, huh? Well, allow me to cure your boredom, as now you have someone you can use it all on. No holding back. Show me what awaits me when I stand over your grave.
as completely enthused, not backing down at all from a foe who could vaporize entire galaxies. Vegito would jump straight off Dai and get into Goku's fighting stance. My grave? I don't know what game this is, but you know I can't fight, right? I don't know how to. Plus, beating me won't make you the Omni King.
Huh? You don't know how to fight the Omni King. Who wrote this story?
As left positively perplexed, Vegito's face would morph into a comedic expression of disbelief. What story? As a straight-faced Zeno would continue. I think maybe Lucif told you fibs, just so he could get back at us. Dai, can you tell him?
Of course, my lord.
As Dai, still battered and bruised on the ground, would begin letting out on command.
Vegito-san, you have been misled indeed. Becoming the Omni King, or the Grand Priest, was never like how you became a destroyer. It has nothing to do with defeating us. To become the next Omni King or Grand Priest, you must fuse with them.
What? Fusion? Like with these Watara I have? As immediately, Vegito would turn back in confusion. But the priest would explain,
No, those earrings are material of the Kais. We gods have our own fusion ability, one that yields far greater results too. But it must be done willingly, with consent. A safeguard against those unworthy of such power. And unfortunately, you are one of those unworthy sorts.
Unworthy? Then maybe I should just kill you both then, if you're of no use to me. As suddenly, the smiles would fade when his plans would come to a screeching halt, erupting into a fury as he would yell, Willingly! What a joke! How the hell can I ascend now? Neither of you would be so dumb to give up your posts! I would, Vegito-chan. Like I said, it's boring. So I'd agree if you promise me one thing.
Lord Zeno!
As with this bombshell coming from Zeno himself, both Vegito and Dai would be stunned alike, their eyes wide open as they would wait to hear more of what the Omni King was saying. As Zeno himself would gleefully come over to Vegito, now with speed and a smile on his face, saying, So, what do you say? I'll fuse with you if you promise that you'll be the one who makes being an Omni King fun for once. A lot more fun than it was for me. If you can do that, then I'll be happy for you to take my place.
What?
As yet again, Dai would yell out, totally feeling like he were in a dream, or maybe his worst nightmare.
Oh, Zeno, I knew you and I would get along. I can definitely promise that. It's a deal. The minute I become Omni King, you can sit back and watch as I stir everything up.
Lord Zeno! Do not do this! Leaving Dai to just protest in vain as... Sorry, Dai, but I'm sold. I've done this for long enough. It's time for me to have some fun. As suddenly, not listening anymore to his sworn advisor, Zeno would miraculously begin being coated in an energy. Until he himself would become said divine energy, using his last moments to wave goodbye to the Grand Priest, before he would then begin transmuting right onto Vegito, covering the Saiyan in aura too.
Zeno! What is he doing?
Leaving Vegito in a serene but confused state temporarily, as his whole body would undergo the same transitioning to straight up energy, his body becoming a ghostly white. And before long, the two would vanish in pure light, like a firework had burst, and right in front of Dai.
No! No!
As the priest himself would be lost in the light, his body, though injured, his mind still fighting for this to stop. But little would he know, it would be too late. As soon, a signature grin would be seen, and then a recognizable face with its eyes closed in anticipation until...
Welcome to a new era of the multiverse.
Until finally, Omni Vegito would be born, the first Saiyan to become both Omni King and Devil, the Omni Devil. Levitating divinely in the air, his clothing instantly changed into that of Zeno's, an aura of pure confidence and power exuding from him, as his smug smile would reveal he had accomplished everything he had come to do, and in record time.
Lord Zeno, why would you do this?
As now forcing himself up to be sitting, the final form Dai would stare at his new majesty. As Vegito's legs would slowly and softly come down to the ground and...
Now Dai, about what you were saying about those eyes of yours. Tell me, how do they compare to mine?
As finally too, those signature white Seraphim Omni Vegito had would now have an answer to where they came from. A variant seemingly exclusive to those with the power of an Omni King, as Dai's completed Saiyan set would be well and truly trumped.
White Seraphim? What is that? Why do they feel sharper than mine?
But before Dai could even question anymore, it would seem the new Omni King would have no mercy, instantly pushing out his hand as... Dai would find his whole body now covered in divine flames and aura.
You! What do you gain from my death?
As knowing he was about to die in this multiverse, just like he had in others, he would only ask one more time just what this Vegito's motives were, good or bad. But it would seem he would soon get his answer, and it would be the unexpected, as Dai would notice...
My injuries, my wounds, they have healed.
as soon Dai would be lost again in the light, but this time in serenity, becoming just a flash until a smaller silhouette would begin to emerge and... Vegito-san, you have spared me and made me stronger. As back in his original form now, completely untouched and blemishless, Dai would notice he would even be improved by his new lord. And almost immediately, this new Omni King would descend down to the ground to his advisor. And nervously, knowing who was in his presence now, Dai would whisper, "So, what is it you will do with me now? Will I now just serve you, Lord Vegito? Forgive me for my past actions." And without holding any sort of grudge, Vegito would just smirk and reply,
Lord Vegito, I like it. But yes, you will continue serving. Zeno's knowledge has been imparted to me, and that means there's a few things and people you need to show me. But know that you only have a few years left in this position. After that, I have a suitable replacement. Someone actually intelligent and redeemable. Even you would be happy with him.
Dai, hearing this, knowing it's not something he could exactly protest, would mutter, "Replacement? Who do you have in mind exactly? Another destroyer you know? Or perhaps Whis?"
Not quite, but much better than those options, I promise.
As Vegito would then spread out his left arm and a portal would begin to open. And of all people, within it, Gohan would be seen, studying away with glasses and all, as Vegito would introduce him saying,
"My son Gohan, he's a scholar and much more level-headed than I. He's a Saiyan too, so the same potential as me to become very strong. Stronger than any Grand Priest that came before. He's always had a strong sense of justice, even going by the pseudonym The Great Saiyan. So rest assured, the multiverse is in good hands. The only problem is, he has a young child at the moment, so we'll leave him be until she's older, and then he can do some real good."
To which Dai would just say back, "I see. I guess like Zeno, I should accept I have done this long enough as well. All things must come to an end. But until then, what should we do, Lord Vegito?"
About that.
As suddenly grinning and bending over Dai with his hands on his hips, Vegito would let out,
"About what I said, you still need to show me a few things. So your first task is to bring me the 5 strongest."
And so soon enough, standing before the newly crowned Omni King, the 5 strongest of the universe and multiverse would emerge and still largely be unchanged from what we'd seen even from Ultra Vegito's multiverse. As watching from afar, Dai would observe in silence, while the white Seraphim Vegito would peer around at the 5 and comment,
"So these are the 5 guys. Had I met you a year ago, you would have been a fun test. Individually, you're all weaker than the priest, but together, you should put up a far greater challenge. Come, all of you, give it your best shot."
Cocky as ever, I see. as Dai, watching from above, would add, "Together they may be stronger, you're correct, Vegito-sama, but they are still nothing to you as you are now. What will this even prove?" As immediately following this, almost as if answering Dai, Omni Vegito would close his eyes and place both his arms behind his back, muttering out in pure disrespect,
"I should probably give you a handicap. So here you go. I can't see nor use my arms. Land one punch on me and you'll prove your position in the 5. Fail though, and you're all going back to being nobodies."
as hearing such an order would leave absolutely all 5 stunned and in different ways.
An Omni King who can fight? Now that's a change. Of course he'd be a Saiyan to be this deluded.
As stepping forward, instantly in annoyance, cracking his knuckles, the legendary Yamoshi, ready to perhaps teach Vegito a lesson.
Careful what you wish for, Omni King!
As instantly, doing what Vegito had ordered him, Yamoshi would fly in with his fist already cocked back.
What?
But with no eyesight or not, the ancient Saiyan would miss entirely, the Omni King's body seemingly just moving on instinct alone.
Tell me when you're ready to start. I can't see, remember?
But with that triggering comment, Yamoshi would roar and pull back both fists to unleash hell.
You've started, right?
But no matter how many attacks would come and how fast they would be, Omni Vegito would leave trails of after images, avoiding absolutely everything.
Alright, well if you're not going to make a move, I guess I will.
As continuing on his goading remarks, he would indeed make a move, slamming a ludicrously hard kick right at Yamoshi, but with seemingly no effort at all. But just as Yamoshi would fly away, coming from behind Vegito, the 4 other members of the 5 would retaliate.
Hold on, I hear something now. The rest of them finally realized they need to attack together.
As getting himself into a better position, Vegito's response would be to jump straight into the sky, as below, the 5 strongest would switch their sights above, ready to prove their worth. But it would be at this very moment we would miraculously change to a familiar scene. Studying again? Ever since Dad left, this is all I do. It's like she's punishing me for Dad leaving. As we would then be treated with the sight of a very bored Goten, a year older, as behind him, Chi-Chi would be busy cleaning dishes. But looking back, the young Saiyan would question, "Can I just go play with Trunks? I haven't seen him in a week, Mom." But Chi-Chi, turning with a smile, would say, "Oh, Goten, you're just like your brother was, always wanting to play. But look what happened when he knuckled down and studied. My son, the scholar. I want you to do even better. You're going to be the family's doctor." But just as Chi-Chi would express these dreams, the young boy would vanish, and not on purpose. Goten? Goten! Where did you go? As what would start out as a mild surprise would quickly turn into a full-on breakdown as her youngest son would disappear into thin air. As unexpectedly, this vanishing would be to arrive right in front of Omni Vegito of all people. The young Saiyan immediately noticing the royally dressed man, of course not recognizing him, as he would comment, "Where am I? And who are you? You kind of have the same key as Dad. Are you..." Whoa! But before the question could fully be formed, looking down, Goten would notice something that would give him much more important questions to ask. What happened here? As strewn across the floor in front of both Omni Vegito and Goten would be the bodies of the 5 strongest, all beaten, all unconscious, and just as the Omni King had promised, stripped of their roles. Just a little accident, Goten. As for who I am, you can think of me as a good friend of your father. And I've brought you here because I'm about to make you far stronger than he ever was. Get ready, my new 5th of the 5 strongest. Huh? What are you saying, Mom? What do you mean Goten's been missing for a week? Why wouldn't you tell me sooner? So our story continues with the aftermath of Goten's sudden disappearance. Of course, summoned abruptly by Vegito himself, but to the Z-Fighters of Earth, they would be none the wiser. And the saddest and most emotional of all would be Chi-Chi herself. The mother left bawling her eyes out, revealing this truth finally to Gohan, as the Ox King, her father, would try his best to keep things under control, with her wailing, "He just vanished, Gohan. 1 minute he was here, and the next he was gone. It felt like a nightmare. Not even your father would ever leave like that. Not even a wave goodbye. I'm starting to think someone abducted him." While the Ox King would just rub her back, saying fatherly,
There, Chi-Chi. You know how these boys are. They take after Goku. I'm sure he'll be back soon. The boy's a Super Saiyan. He can defend himself fine. But anyway, Gohan's here now. He'll find him easy."
But for some reason, Chi-Chi wouldn't have that much faith, as with her tears still running down, she would mutter, "Oh, Dad, Gohan can't do anything anymore. He's busy with his own child now. His own handful. These kids grow up so fast and leave their poor mama alone. All alone."
Chi-Chi, I'm literally right here, honey. Mom!
But despite the comedic disregarding of her own father, Gohan's face would quickly take on a serious stance, continuing with a stare right at Chi-Chi. "This is Goten we're talking about, not one of our pets. My little brother. He comes before anything. Videl can handle Pan just fine. I'm bringing Goten home. I'm bringing him home now." And with that declaration said, Gohan would swiftly, without any more conversation, begin walking out the door, grabbing the entrance, just with one final word letting out, "Tomorrow. You can expect Goten back home by tomorrow." Gohan? leaving his mother stunned, having not seen her oldest son with such conviction for years now, her tears beginning to dry up as even she starts to believe in his promises. As just like that, Gohan would set off, blasting off into the sky as if he were in a rush, flying through the clouds at jet-like speeds, as he would begin thinking to himself, Goten, where did you go, buddy? This isn't like you. I know you didn't like studying, neither did I. But would you really run away? Or did someone take you? Maybe they confused you with Dad. Huh? What is that? But as Gohan's cunning mind would compute hundreds of different scenarios and ideas for his younger brother's disappearance, all concentration would break when the scholarly Saiyan would sense something fast approaching. As behind Gohan's white aura, almost like a heat-seeking missile, a blue beam of energy would be giving chase. This attack, isn't it? But at the very last moment, Gohan would show he still had some of his old charm and skill, as by the skin of his teeth, he would dodge the beam entirely at the last second. There's no doubt about it. It is what I think it is. Leaving Gohan to watch as the blast would travel past him until, ultimately, it would lead to a gigantic explosion behind on the surface of Earth, with even Gohan impressed, thinking introspectively, that was Dad's technique, but that was way stronger than I thought it'd be. Whoever this is, they're no joke. As cautiously turning his head around 90 degrees. It's a kid! How does he know that move? As when we'd finally get a view of this mysterious assailant, what would be on show would be an all-new hooded figure, his hand still smoking away, but in the position of the turtle wave, aka the Kamehameha wave, not saying a word as Gohan would mutter, Who are you? How do you know that move? Wait, are you the one who took Goten? Answer me! As full of rage, bringing back the angst of his Team Gohan form, Gohan would immediately rush in at the silent warrior. Launching a punch first, but whoever this was, they would seemingly read Gohan like a book, dodging immediately to the side. But Gohan would just not let up. Taught to never quit by his father Goku, he would launch a barrage more of punches, but they too would be dodged with complete ease until... With a perfect counter, the hooded short figure would just smack Gohan under the chin with a rising kick. But like a rabid dog, Gohan would just blast back for more, not satisfied. I'm going to get my answers, whether you like it or not! Rushing in closer and closer before... His punch this time wouldn't just be dodged, but left to attack thin air, as the figure would have enough speed to vanish away completely and... It would seem launch a perfect counter again, as in the next panel, Gohan would be left speechless and vibrating in pain, as his glasses would be forced off from the movement alone. How is he so strong for this size? as once more Gohan would be taken aback by how this Krillin-sized fighter would pack in so much power. Eventually getting him some more space. As still in pain, Gohan would let out, "I've got to admit, if you're the one responsible for Goten vanishing, then I can see how you'd be able to handle him. But you're wrong if you think his older brother would be the same!" As suddenly, Gohan's hair would go blonde, his eyes an emerald green, as electricity would summon all around him and... With a brutal Saiyan roar, Son Gohan would stop playing games, exploding into a golden aura as he would transform into his signature Super Saiyan 2 form. And in a literal flash, Gohan would already be right in front of the hooded boy, his Super Saiyan powered fist pulled back ready to kill when... What? In a completely unfeasible reaction, the figure would not dodge this time, but stop the attack entirely, and with his palm only. Alright, I think that's enough. You're going to hurt me if you try too hard, Gohan. As a familiar, light-hearted voice would then begin chuckling, as unbelievably, faint glimmers of the same golden aura that coated Gohan would now begin flashing all over this young man until... Soon, his whole body would have that same yellow aura soaring, completely identical to Gohan's. Whoa! Who is this guy? He's a Super Saiyan! Sorry for worrying you, Gohan, but I'm fine. As finally revealed from the hood and clothing blasting off from the power-up, a Super Saiyan Goten would be revealed, alive and well, and unfathomably, stopping his own older brother's full-powered fist like it were nothing. As carefree, the young boy would just ask, "So, how's Pan? She okay?" Goten! But understandably, Gohan would be in no mood for updates on his little girl, as just staring into Goten's eyes, he would ask himself, "It is you! Where have you been? And how? How did you get so strong?" I guess I do have some explaining to do. As just like that, Goten would let go of Gohan's fist and separate backwards for some distance, the two Super Saiyans looking on at each other. It's a long story, I guess, but maybe not so long for you. I've been away for a week here on Earth, but I've actually been somewhere else training really hard. Somewhere where time moves faster, apparently. I'm older now too. Have you noticed? What? Somewhere where time moves faster? That means... You mean you've been training in the hyperbolic time chamber? So this whole time, you've been at Kami's lookout. Why wouldn't Mr. Popo tell me? As naively, Gohan would immediately jump to conclusions. No. Hyperbolic what now? I was training in some kind of weird pyramid with Dad. Huh? Dad was with you too? As immediately, having not seen his own father for a long time either, nor known where he was, the reveal of Goten and Goku being together this entire time would shell-shock the warrior. Yes, Gohan, Dad's back. Long time no see.
my firstborn.
Huh? Who said that? As suddenly a mysterious voice would begin speaking from behind and with familiarity, leading to Gohan first turning his head around abruptly. But once he would see who it was, he would immediately turn his whole body 180 and instantly get into fighting stance, commanding, "Tell me who you are! You're not Dad! So why the hell does Goten think you are? What have you done to my little brother?"
Oh, Gohan, I haven't seen you this ready since our own time together in the hyperbolic time chamber.
As of course, revealing himself would be Omni Vegito, his appearance completely foreign to Gohan, however, since in this multiverse, Vegito never needed to appear against Buu. As the Omni King would continue,
I hope you've been training enough to at least remember how to do this, kid. But drop the bravado for a second and sense my key signature. You'll recognize who I am from that alone.
Oh, no way! This energy, it is Dad's energy! And Vegeta's too! What's going on? As immediately, Gohan would do exactly as asked and be shocked from the result, with more questions now than answers. The three Saiyans stood in silence as this reunion would be the most confusing ever for Gohan. But eventually, time would pass and all would be explained, with Vegito finishing,
"And so, that's what's been happening. I'm a fusion of Goku and Vegeta. I'm still your dad, but I'm onto bigger and better things that will save billions, trillions even, and not just the Earth. And you're going to join me one day. One day when Pan can take care of herself and you've completed your duty as a father. I know deep in your heart this is something you'd love to do, Saiyan. So I already know your answer."
And indeed, Gohan smiling back in base, would respond, "You know me so well, Dad. Giving up the chance to protect 12 universes, let alone the people of Earth. I couldn't live with myself if I ever skipped that. I'll be there. I promise." And with that said, Omni Vegito would then open a portal, his son following along with him, as he would say in finality,
"That's my boy. I knew you'd make the right decision. But either way, you'll be able to come back whenever you want. It'll be like you never left in the first place. Goten and I too. Nothing's going to change, but just how we do it. I'll be home for dinner with Goten in a few days. See you then, son."
And with that said, Omni Vegito, the part-time father, would wave a final goodbye as he and Goten would enter the portal, leaving Earth once more before it would vanish, leaving Gohan now alone in the middle of nowhere, left alone with his thoughts thinking, "Wow, my dad, the Omni King, the supreme ruler of the multiverse. I can't believe it, but there's no one we could place our safety in better than Dad."
"Yeah, I can't believe it either, Gohan."
Huh? As yet again, Gohan would be interrupted by a voice from behind, but this time from up above, as standing on the branch of a tree, a lone green figure would be seen, his cape flowing in the wind. As it would be revealed to be none other than Piccolo, his arms folded and with a serious expression, letting out,
I heard everything, Gohan. He's putting a lot of responsibility in your hands. I'm surprised you were so quick to agree. Are you sure you can handle this? Dende and Kami are a part of me. With their knowledge, I could easily do the job for you. I have no family, but you do.
But Gohan would place his hands on his hips and just adamantly respond, "What? You don't think I could do it, Mr. Piccolo? I've been burdened with responsibility my whole life, but every time I've had Dad or Vegeta to thank for saving me when things got too tough. This time, I'll be the one helping them. He's going to be busy. I know what they're like, but as Grand Priest, I'm going to be able to pay them back and make sure nothing bad ever happens to anyone, ever again."
As optimistic as ever. I guess you aren't the little kid I trained all those years ago anymore.
As giving off a proud smile, Piccolo would then jump off the tree, landing beside Gohan, placing a hand on his shoulder as he would continue.
To be honest, I'd be worried if it was Goku making decisions. So when the time comes, I'm certain you'll be a much safer bet for us all. I believe in you, but I'm your master whether you're the Grand Priest or not. And your training isn't over until I say it is. I'm coming with you, wherever you go. Vegito will just have to find a job for me too.
And so time would pass, and just as Vegito had promised, everyone would still enjoy family time. Nobody would be abandoned no matter what post they had been given, as would be treated to images of Vegito and Goten enjoying picnics with Chi-Chi and her father, while even Trunks and Bulma would get their own alone time with the Omni King, albeit annoying for Bulma, as even while she'd be trying to enjoy a family meal, Vegito couldn't help but train his young son. And finally, after some years would pass, near enough 2 decades, we would see Pan's wedding day, the day she would be passed on to her husband, with a proud Gohan standing beside Videl, Hercule, Trunks and Goten, and of course, even Omni Vegito, wishing the happy couple a long and beautiful marriage. And so with his duty finished, sometime later, standing before the Omni King's palace, Zikor, Piccolo, Vegito, Gohan and Goten would stand admiring at its excellence. But peering down the line, Gohan would spot the unfamiliar face saying, "I was going to say something earlier, but is that the other son you told me about? He looks older than Goten, but I thought he's supposed to be 8 years younger. What gives, Dad?" "Nice to meet you too, half-brother." But a smiling Vegito would just answer, "Look, it's a long story, involving a lot of training in the Pyramid of Power. He's aged years in the matter of days at various points. Forget about that though. As of today, we've all gone past such mortal curiosities." As lifting his arm up, Vegito would immediately begin summoning something up in front, much to the hesitation of Piccolo behind. As suddenly, out in front, a strange symbol would appear, coated in Saiyan energy. The mark of the angel would appear for the first time in the Dragon Ball Super series. as turning his head around, he would address Gohan.
Come, Gohan, your new life awaits. Through this gate lie the trials of the Grand Priests. Complete it, or should I say survive it, and you will officially take your new role. Good luck, kid.
Don't have to tell me twice, Dad. As confidently, Gohan would just strut forward as if he had been dreaming of this moment this entire time. But Piccolo behind would yell,
Gohan, wait! I'm coming!
Leading to Piccolo starting to walk forward also until...
Stop right there, green man!
As soon as Piccolo would begin moving, in that instant, Vegito would grip his shoulder tightly, bringing him to a stop, letting out...
You need to give up the second father act, Piccolo. He's not a little boy anymore. He can handle himself. You have your own mission to do, seeing as you came here uninvited. What is that?
As now right in front on the other side, another symbol would appear, this time red, and this time the mark of the dragon. As with a conniving smirk, Omni Vegito would then reveal...
Your goal now will be to become a god of your own. The Dragon God Piccolo, and the new creator of the Super Dragon Balls. What? Super Dragon Balls?
As with a stunned look, never having expected this at all, Piccolo would be graced with the greatest of offers for any Namekian ever. And it wouldn't be long that in the presence of Omni Vegito, Piccolo would just agree, as both Gohan and Piccolo would then be seen entering their respective portals, only to return once they had succeeded and attained godhood. I really wonder how strong Gohan is going to be when he gets out. The way you make it sound, he'll be back stronger than even me. I've been training for ages. As Vegito would reply,
Everyone knows Gohan is a special kid. His potential is through the roof, so don't be surprised if he is. The role of the Grand Priest is to be above the 5 anyway, so let's just hope he lives up to the name.
Before Vegito's face would then turn more sinister, and his grin would widen as he would reveal,
But as for you two, you're not going to be sitting on your butts until they're back. You two have got some work to do. You need to go find the rest of the 5. And lucky for you, I know exactly who to start with.
As unbelievably, of all the first fighters to begin recruiting in this multiverse, Jiren would be the first to be visited, as in an iconic scene, face to face with a Saiyan. It wouldn't be Goku Jiren was staring at this time, but Goten instead, with the youngest son smiling confidently saying, So, you're Jiren the Grey. I can see why they call you Grey, but not quite sure why Dad says you're the strongest in this universe. How about you show me how accurate that really is? But seeming uninterested, Jiren would just respond,
Stand aside, warrior. I have no interest in civilians. Only justice is what I seek. My master taught me better than to pick on the weak.
The weak, huh? Guess he'll have no problem with you fighting me then. The strongest in the multiverse! As immediately, this older Goten would then transform into his Super Saiyan Blue form.
This key, is he a god?
As with Jiren's impressive instinct, he would immediately realize Goten was no ordinary foe.
Fine, I will accept your challenge, strange warrior.
Eventually getting into his own fighting stance and preparing for a fated battle. And almost immediately, unlike his father, Goten would come in straight away with full strength, having his first rush blocked instantly. Jiren's first punch then expertly ducked under. But only for Goten to then make a second movement to the side, and in his palm, a concentration of extreme energy already generated. Ultimately tossing it at point blank at Jiren, but the Pride Trooper would instantly bat it away like it were nothing. Opting to retaliate with another punch, but it would just be too slow for the fifth. Okay, I see what Dad was getting at now. You're impressive, Jiren. As Jiren would look back replying,
I shall take that as a compliment. After you must bring me this father of yours.
To which a smiling Goten would just respond, Oh, you're going to meet him real soon. Don't worry about that, buddy. Their feet instantly then making another move. Flying head-on at each other, now covered in their auras. Jiren! Warrior! And reminiscent of another timeline and multiverse, the Saiyan and Pride Trooper would fly towards each other to find truly who reigned supreme. But Goten would not be the only one facing a giant behemoth of a man, as we would rejoin Zikor, who would stand on a strange yellow planet with a certain Saiyan in front.
So, apparently you're a lost Saiyan from my father's era? I don't see how that automatically makes you strong, but I guess we'll see. Come with me, Broly.
With Broly quickly turning his head in confusion, wondering how this stranger would know his name. But ultimately, would just continue back looking down, eating. As he would slowly then raise his eyes up again and make brief eye contact until... He's fast! Zikor would notice the Saiyan had vanished immediately, in a single frame before... instantly appearing on top of Zikor like a meteor and already fully transformed. Broly would say hello by launching a devastating fist straight onto Zikor's cheek, sending the son of Vegito off for a vicious impact in the distance. Okay, father was right then. But the godly warrior, though scathed, would just as quickly return. But so too would Broly, clenching both his hands together behind his head, resulting in another catastrophic collision on the surface of the yellow planet. Now you're just showing off! but that too would be escaped by Zikor. He would reply by reappearing behind the legendary warrior with a beam powered up. The result being a gigantic explosion that would rip through the barren landscape, ultimately leaving a giant crater in the ground as smoke would trail off from the center. But neither would be down, instead both grinning, the Saiyans bonding through battle like their ancestors of old. They would now be ready for a true test of each other's power.
Now where is he? The Oracle Fish said a beast fit for the 5 strongest would be here.
But back with Omni Vegito, he too would now be on a mission, standing in the middle of a deserted village all alone. Looking around thinking,
this is strange. I should be able to sense something at least. What is this planet? It seems to be hiding key signatures.
As behind Vegito, while his back would still be turned, a foot would come forward. And a mysterious warrior would come into view, still creeping forward until...
You can hide your key signature, but not the sound of your footsteps, friend. Good to finally meet you. I've heard a lot about your hidden powers. Come with me to take them to a whole new level. Gyber!
As unbelievably after all this time, all these years, the warrior known as Gyber from Jin's universe would be seen once more in this new multiverse to take his seat at the table of the 5 strongest of Omni Vegito's multiverse. Just what is this crazy Saiyan going to do with this ragtag team though? Find out in the next exciting episode of UV.
Well, hello, Gyber. Truly, it is a pleasure to finally meet you. I've heard a lot from the Oracle Fish about your power, and it's about time I saw it for myself.
So our story continues with the arrival of Omni Vegito to a strange planet seeking the new members of the 5 strongest. And in front of him, as his personal choice, would be Gyber, a character from Season 1 of Ultra Vegito, now here also in this multiverse, but no longer under the rule and capture of God of Destruction Jiren. Who are you? But Gyber's response would be stoic, no fear nor respect for the Omni King, as with confidence he would continue, I have never met you, yet you know my name. Explain. In fact, don't bother. I didn't come here to talk. I came to make you leave before you get hurt. Me get hurt? I love it. But of course, hearing this would only immediately give the Omni King giggles, closing his eyes with his teeth bared, continuing, You see that right there? The fact you think you can hurt me. That power you know is within you, I know all about it, and it's why I've come here. As Vegito would then begin strutting forward towards Gyber, saying, I know a lot, in fact. I know how you use this power to protect all your loved ones. How invaders come here non-stop,
and you're the only reason your clan survives. I know that's why this area hides key signatures, but even without that, I even know right now, in that house behind you, women and children you love are cowering in fear, waiting for you to get rid of me.
Mummy! Shh! Don't let them hear us! As astonishingly, despite the key signatures being hidden, Vegito's claims would contain no lies, as a family would then be seen hiding in the darkness within one of the homes behind, waiting eagerly for the commotion to end.
Don't talk about them! They have nothing to do with this!
But it would be this final comment from Vegito that would trigger Gyber from his stoicism, immediately angrily yelling,
"Why do you people all think the same? Think you can come here and hurt their innocents here with no consequence? You all end up dead! As long as I'm here, the same will happen to you! Settle down!"
But Vegito would still be all smiles, as he would explain,
"This may work for you now. I'm sure you've done a great job of protecting everyone. But the problem is, Gyber, one day a foe will come that you just cannot defeat. And everyone here will die as a result. Not long ago, a destroyer named Jin was on his way here. He would have enslaved you and erased this entire planet in an instant. But I stopped him. That doesn't mean, though, someone even stronger won't come after him. So this is where my offer comes in. Come and join me, and I will make you stronger than your wildest dreams, to the point there will be no invader you could not handle, God or not. And at the same time, I will promise that this planet of yours, your family and friends, will be protected forever, even while you work for me. They're assured safety in exchange for helping me. Not interested."
But almost immediately, Gyber would just turn his back, with no reason to believe a word this stranger was saying, as he would respectfully let out, "Thanks for your time, but I can protect my family fine as I am now, from anybody, including whoever you are. I'll take my chances with whatever gods come from here on out. Goodbye." But just as Gyber would say this, a blast with extreme speed and force would fire right past his face, and out in front would not just be an empty space, but in fact a certain house that was mentioned earlier by Vegito. "Mummy, is it going to be over soon?" As the young boy would be seen once again inside said house, as his mother nervously would reply, "Any minute now. Brother Gyber always saves us all. You know that." But the naive belief in Gyber would soon come to a halt when suddenly the entirety of their darkened room would light up along with their faces until, in a vicious explosion that would rip through the village, the home and its occupants would instantly be erased from existence. Coral! The children! What did you just do? Immediately leaving Gyber positively stunned, clearly with some bond to the family, as for the first time he had just momentarily dropped his guard, and unfortunately experienced the ultimate consequence as a result. Why, you monster? You're all the same! And the rage would finally find Gyber too in this moment, no longer seeking a peaceful goodbye, as his body would begin spouting electricity and fluxing air pressure all around him.
Will pay!
And in a flurry of dark, mysterious energy we had not seen since Season 1, Gyber would let loose his power that Vegito had been waiting to see this whole time. I'm sorry I had to do that, but overconfidence breeds weakness. I told you, after that destroyer, a stronger foe you couldn't handle would come. That foe is me.
I'll kill you! I'll never forgive you!
As now losing his pupils, this madness taken over Gyber would regret ever giving the Omni King the chance to talk. His transformation now in the early stages of what we saw against Ultra Vegito. But fully transformed or not, the warrior would immediately then shoot forward to rip Omni Vegito to shreds. But as we would see him fast approach the Omni King from up above, a certain angel would be watching it all unfold. An angel that had gone missing in recent chapters. Oh dear. As it would eventually be revealed to be Whis, high up in the sky, commenting, Vegito-sama has changed a great deal since I found him on Earth, that's for sure. But it seems his methods of achieving his goals are as ruthless as ever. Did he really need to go to such an extreme? Before suddenly transitioning to a warm smile, Whis would mysteriously look above and say, Don't worry, you three. You're safe with me. Up here we'll be able to avoid all the drama. Once your friend down there has seen some sense, I'll get straight to work with getting you a new house. I promise. As just like that, the family within the house would be shown again, alive and well, completely out of the sight of Gyber. A trick on the Omni King's behalf to get the best out of the warrior, it would seem.
Jiren! Warrior!
As in a change of scene, we'd now return to Goten, 5th of the 5 strongest, in his own recruitment mission of Jiren, the young Saiyan in his Super Saiyan Blue form, and the battle clearly having progressed with both him and Jiren now showing heavy battle damage. The first panel we'd see would be both with an equal slamming of their fists into each other's faces. Before Jiren would then land one gut punch of his own, only for Goten to counter with a downward kick onto the Pride Trooper's skull in retaliation.
Be gone! Rest easy, warrior!
As Jiren's next move would be to pull his arm out and power up a red fiery ball of his signature energy. And of course, right in front would be his target, Goten. I'll rest easy when you're part of the 5. You're strong, Jiren. We need you. But the 5th would have his own reply, powering up a signature. But with an immediate instant transmission, a callback to his own father's techniques, not learned on Yardrat, but from Vegito's own affinity to figure out techniques by himself. Goten would appear right under Jiren and... blast out a massive Kamehameha point blank. The shining blue energy beam seen even from the surface of the planet, a planet that was far greater than the size of Earth. But in the aftermath, a leg would still be standing. And Jiren himself then visible, clouded in smoke and even more scratched, but unmoved, grabbing onto the sheath of his top until... nice move! He would rip it off in one fell swoop. Yeah, like I said, we really need strength like yours. But Goten would be smiling anyway, not bothered that his move didn't have any of the intended effect, as Jiren, with a similar expression, would respond, "The same was said to me by Belmont when he recruited me for the Pride Troopers. But like him, you will need to defeat me for me to even consider. Now, we will see what you are really capable of, warrior." As just like that, Jiren would then power up to his strongest state, coated in a magnificent red aura that was unique to him. Show what else you can do, young man. As standing menacingly, soaring with energy, Jiren would wait patiently for Goten to match him. Wow, you're incredible. You're really going to push me to my limit. I wonder if you're stronger than Zikor. Kaioken times 50! As just like that, Goten would have his response, himself now exuding a red aura on top of his blue, as he would multiply his power by 50 times in an instant. But as one Saiyan brother would scream and power up elsewhere in another realm, so too would Gohan, powering up to his limit as a Super Saiyan 2, his aura bursting seemingly alone in this Saiyan realm of the angels until... out of nowhere, a mysterious and invisible power would pull him by force into the distance, ragdolling him as if he were just a plaything. What was that force? My whole body lost control. But while Gohan would be stunned, staring at the ground, his head still shaking, unbeknownst to him, a figure would already stand in front of him. Huh? Who are you? Lifting his head up only to see... What a strange way to address the one who came before all of you. I am the first priest, decider of all grand priests that come after. As right in front of him would be a tall, white-bearded man, regally dressed and staring at Gohan with almost disgust. His eyes would appear familiar. as only on closer inspection these eyes would be revealed to be the same as Akko Bell's. Eyes thought to only be fit for an archangel, as the mysterious man would look down and say, "Why has someone like you been chosen to come here? What is the meaning of this? Where is Dai? There is no way a mortal like you could have what it takes to be the next Grand Priest. Leave now and tell that Zeno to bring me someone more suitable for a candidate. I do not waste my time." But Gohan, even with this blatant put down, would begin getting up mumbling, "Well, the thing is, I'm not leaving here until I do have what it takes. I've waited a long time for this. As for Zeno and Dai, you should know they are no longer with us. A new Omni King is out there now, one who defeated them both. His name is Vegito." Before a grin would come and he'd continue, "And I'm his son. So maybe talk to me with a little more respect if you could." Vegito defeated my Dai! As instantly, that look of disgust would turn to one of disbelief, learning the realm as he would know it had changed drastically since his last student, and this new one in Gohan would not be leaving until his mission was complete, just like his father before him. And it would be at this point we would now join Piccolo in his mission to become a dragon god. Seen walking up a stone stairwell, the sky green, as an imposing building up top would be seen with a wide open entrance. But as Piccolo would peer around, he would come to notice a form of familiarity, noting, "This place, the air, the noises, the smell, it reminds me of Namek." Before eventually Piccolo would enter the structure, and within it, a straight corridor with pillars across each side would be observed. There's nothing here but a basket and a blanket. What kind of training did Vegito say this was? As indeed, inside would not be very much at all, but on closer inspection, this lone basket would contain 7 stone balls, plain and with no engraving on them, leading Piccolo to immediately realize, these must be the precursors to Dragon Balls. I'm supposed to create these so-called Super Dragon Balls with these. But closing his eyes, Piccolo would know that he would need more help for such a task, thinking, Kami and Dende are going to need to take over from here. But even those two, will they be able to build a set as powerful as what Vegito described? Super Dragon Balls that can grant any wish, no matter what it was. As internally, he would call out, "Hey, you guys, wake up! Can you see what I see? We're standing right in front of them, Piccolo." But a sudden, frail voice would reply, and it wouldn't be from within his mind, but outside it. "What? How are you three here?" As right in front of Piccolo now, on the other side, would stand 3 familiar Namekians.
Nice to see you too, Brother Piccolo.
As shockingly for the first time in decades, Nail, Kami and Dende would inexplicably be outside of Piccolo once again, standing together as a trio, looking on fondly at their Namekian brother. And in the middle of all of them, the 7 stone balls.
How is this possible though? You guys could do this entire time! But I don't feel any weaker.
As understandably, Piccolo would stand bamboozled, not believing his eyes, especially when it went unnoticed.
Relax, young Piccolo. This realm, it isn't normal. It brought us out by itself. But I believe we exist merely as our souls, a representation of who we are metaphysically, rather than organically. We still exist inside you, but someone seems to have brought us out to aid you.
And I think I can see exactly what for. These are definitely for creating Dragon Balls, though they're a lot smaller than I thought they'd be. As Dende would be next to speak, hunching down to inspect what's in the room. Can't say I know why I'm here. I only took care of Guru, but it feels good to get some air. I'll try my best to help you guys out, Mr. Dragon God. As then Nail, cracking his neck as if he'd been cramped all this time, would be all smiles finally being let out. But suddenly all 3 would then get to work, placing their hands together around the stone balls.
Guess whoever runs this realm knew exactly how we do this. I appreciate it. He must be a Namekian too.
As grinning, Piccolo would seemingly be having far more of an easier time with his mission than Gohan ever was. But Gohan wouldn't be the only Saiyan struggling, as back in base, Broly would be seen now on both his hands and knees, grunting away severely beaten, looking to the ground and questioning,
What power? I had no idea such beings could exist. Father, why did you hide this from me? You told me I was the strongest. Father.
As with his final thoughts being over his deceased papa, Broly would fall unconscious, completely spent of his last bit of energy. The beast finally sleeps. What a fighter you are, Broly! But he would not be alone, as beside him a pair of feet would land, watching over him like a guardian angel. But unfortunately, where you are just a Saiyan, I am far more than just that. As Zikor, revealing a hideous transformed new state with both Saiyan and Red Seraphim taking after his own late mother Rani, would show why he was chosen as the 4th, his bag of tricks yet to be shown fully at all.
Come, Gyber, your new home awaits.
But it would not be long after that finally Vegito would return, and behind him a calmed but defeated Gyber, who he had clearly tamed and persuaded to follow him in the end. As Gyber, looking around, would nervously question, This is where an Omni King lives? What is this place? It's so barren. But Vegito, just looking ahead, would let out, Don't worry, it's just a pit stop. But look here, do my eyes deceive me or... The gang's all here, and it looks like the 5th and the 4th have succeeded. Who would have thought? What do you mean, Dad? What else did you expect? As revealed, standing there in wait already would be Goten and Zikor, battle-ravaged, with their 2 new, equally battle-ravaged recruits, Jiren and Broly, remaining quiet in caution in the presence of the strangers, Omni Vegito and Gyber. But regardless, Vegito would walk straight towards the Pride Trooper, as he would continue commenting, You did it, Goten! You and Zikor! You've both proven your positions, unlike the others that came before. So that is the warrior's father. As finally Jiren would make eye contact with the so-called father he had heard so much about from Goten, unknowingly, technically face to face with Son Goku like in the original multiverse and timeline, as he would then think internally, Unbelievable. This man's power, it feels endless. So this is what lies beyond even the Grand Priest. Hold on, what's this? Don't tell me our timings were this perfect. But the surprise returns would seemingly not end when the Omni King would momentarily sense the arrival of 2 others. As 2 familiar portals, one shaped after an angel and the other after a dragon, would then appear, much to the surprise of the 3 new members of the 5 who had never before seen this. And of course, 2 feet would begin stepping out, and of course, it would be at exactly the same time. You didn't think we'd take that long, did you? It feels good to be back, Dad. I hope I'm finally ready to serve. As perfectly, Dragon God Piccolo and Grand Priest Gohan would finally emerge from their respective trainings. Both new men, it would seem, as Piccolo's clothing would be all new, while Gohan's eyes would reflect his new role as the father of all angels. Clearly, just like many of the realms in this multiverse, time had moved yet again differently wherever they had gone. But with them being gods now and immortal, it would hardly matter how old they were now. Now that's what I'm talking about! Piccolo, I can sense your divine nature. Those super Dragon Balls are as good as mine now, aren't they? And Gohan, that's some power boost you've got. I knew you'd surpass Dai. As always, my life just seems to go perfectly. And it's no different when the whole multiverse is under my rule now. It's time. As after a snide grin, clearly smug at his perfect, always winning existence, Omni Vegito would simply snap his fingers and... It's time to whip this multiverse into shape, my fellow gods!
No prisoners, no mercy. All villains must die.
And just like that, on the snap of his fingers, not only would all fighters be returned to full health, but to their natural clothing too. The Dragon God Piccolo, the Grand Priest Gohan, fifth of the 5 strongest Goten, Zikor the 4th, Gyber the 3rd, Broly the 2nd, and Jiren the 1st. All together, rolling forward into a new era with Omni Vegito. And in this new era, events around the multiverse would continue to occur, namely one beginning on Namek, as we would see a grisly pair of feet stand before what looks like a small Namekian hut.
Hiding doesn't save you, little ones. Your fear alone is enough of a tantalizing scent for me.
As revealed, standing would be Moro, having heard of the Namekian Dragon Balls and arriving on the peaceful planet to wish for his youth back, while getting his fill on Namekian energy along the way, as he would soon turn his head towards the lone hut, and pulling up his hand would call out,
"Fine, I don't need to see your faces while I feast anyway. Die in your home, but your energy will be mine."
We're done for! As unfortunately, inside would be 2 young Namekians. Somebody, please! Closing their eyes now as they would start beginning the feeling of their energy leaving their bodies.
What?
But everything would end when finally their hopes would be answered, as slamming straight into Moro's face would be a hard-hitting kick that could only belong to another Namekian. Sent flying and straight into the distance, as the 2 boys would look out through the door in pure curiosity.
Namek is done worrying about your type. If you want energy, just see if you can take mine.
Whoa! As revealing himself with his arms folded and an assured smile, Dragon God Piccolo would stand as the new protector of Namek forevermore, and with a god behind them, no more threats would ever come to the peaceful green people. But soon we'd join other events in the future also, like the showdown between Gas and Granola, beginning with the Cerulean getting smashed straight in the stomach, until Gas's hand would light up and... Sorry, but your wish to be the strongest means null now. Now, that title belongs to me.
What?
Until ultimately, it would blow up right in front of Granola and for devastating effect, covering him in a cloud of pure fire and destruction. Sending the sharpshooter smashing into the background mountains. Crucified onto its surface, sitting down defeated, Granola could only mumble, This isn't fair! Life isn't meant to be fair, Cerulean. The strongest lead, and after my wish to become even stronger than you, I am that leader. As Gas's final move to end things would be to throw a final energy ball made up of mysterious energy, straight through at Granola's way.
This can't be it!
And by Granola's look of fear, it would seem even he knew this would be the end. But miraculously, before it would even make impact, it would erase from all sight.
What? That kid still has tricks up his sleeve? How? I'm supposed to be the strongest now.
But as Gas would stand stunned in confusion, sorry, but you need to really stop calling yourself that. The title of strongest belongs to my brother. As suddenly, Grand Priest Gohan would reveal himself right behind Gas, and like the Grim Reaper himself, would be here to end this arc of Dragon Ball Super all by himself.
I've told you everything!
As finally, while this would be going on, we would revisit a familiar scene told to us briefly in the past, as Omni Vegito would stand threatening Zeno the All-Knowing, letting out,
"You've told me a great deal, yes, but there is more I need to know. For one, I'm not as stupid as those gods that came before, to think there would be no one above even the Omni King. Who created him? What lies beyond this realm and this multiverse?"
To which Zeno would begin speaking, explaining away in surprising detail until...
Elder gods? There's that many, huh? And my creator, his name is Castiel.
But adjusting quickly, Vegito would then ask,
"And let me guess, they don't have the best intentions. Tell me, do any of these elder gods plan to interfere with me or harm my people in any way?"
To which Zeno would reply,
"Yes, one does aim to take control,
perhaps even erase us all."
Of course there would be. So it's Castiel then. Just another god I'll grow to surpass. No problem.
No, not him. The culprit is another elder god, known as Kranoa. She plans on forcing a tournament of the elder gods, and she will take control by... Zeno's information on Kranoa's intention being explained thoroughly until...
You're kidding! What a crafty plan! And she thinks all of that will go the way she hopes?
But Vegito would soon begin giggling, closing his eyes, letting out,
"Right, I mean if she's so confident, then let's just say things do go ahead, that this tournament happens, and I fight for Castiel. Just tell me one thing. How do I double-cross both of them and become the leader of the Elder Gods myself?"
As with his Omni Devil eyes on full show now, Omni Vegito would show to us all that maybe, just maybe, he had entered this tournament with a plan nobody saw coming. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag cross in the comments down below and let me know just what is Omni Vegito's plan, or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked, and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.